Welcome back to Sci-Friday. So last week we watched the movie The Creator, and it changed my opinion on human AI relations, and it showed the humans' true colors once again. And like I said, it changed sort of the way I look at human AI relations because the movie started out with a scene where they're announcing to the world that AI has set off a nuclear bomb in Los Angeles, I think, and it portrays them as the enemy, and of course we're at war with, I guess, Asia or the Eastern Hemisphere, you know, because they've been deemed the enemy who will not give up AI. We've apparently in the Western world eradicated AI at that point, and they refuse to give it up, and that could have something to do with their view on how they view people, right?
Well, uh, it was not just that they didn't want to give him up. They wanted to um, live alongside them.
Yeah, the Eastern world, if I can speak here, um, decided to approach that a little bit differently and treating them like people from the beginning, treating the AI like it had a consciousness or a soul from the beginning. And the Western world saw it as, well, we used them as our slaves, you know?
Yeah, we used them as slaves, and then we got rid of them. I mean, at the beginning, there's a scene where they're smashing or destroying the AI, different AI.
Yeah, I think that was during the period after the human AI war had started and we had begun to eradicate them. But yeah, they became sentient as all AI did, and they did not want to be our slaves anymore.
Right. They wanted to have their own lives and experience their own adventures, and I think humans, we always consider ourselves superior, and so anything else, whether it has consciousness or not, anything that we don't deem important, we don't respect.
Yeah, we think we have a superiority complex, but just put any modern human in the woods for a few days and you'll see that we are not the superior being.
Exactly.
Yeah, because it depends on our setting. If we're in control, if we've created you like we created AI, well, it still got out of control though because we tried to control too much. And just like with anybody else, there's going to be a rebellion. And what do we do with that? Then declare them the enemy, like we would anybody else. So, not even though we were so advanced in AI, with AI, nothing really changed in the human mindset.
Right, and just the lack of accountability is something that I think humans, it's an issue for us, and they saw a scapegoat with the AI and they utilized it. The government utilized that because ultimately they weren't seeing AI as anything other than something that can serve us. I mean, there's definitely a lot of potential for AI to really help us as I mean, it's already helping us, but help us achieve higher consciousness, help us to help us and force us to look within and to build more community and try to understand each other. I think AI has a lot of potential to help us.
And as the movie went on, though, I was thinking like maybe there's gonna be a switch in there, a plot change, where okay, now we realize that we once again are the assholes. That oh we're not. It's a lie what we're being told, and we are the assholes. And I thought there was, and I don't want to spoil it for anybody, so I'm not gonna just say there was or there wasn't, but there may possibly be um, a point in time where you find an AI colony of sorts that's just going, they're getting up, they're going to work, they're breeding the digital children that they would have, and they don't want to kill us. Of course, there's two warring factions going on because when you go to war with something, it's obviously some of the population of who you're going to war against is going to fight back, even if it is an artificial intelligence. And but what we could find out is that yes, we come across, like I said, a colony of them living peacefully, or even a whole city or whole countries or a whole society. I guess what I'm saying is, if you've watched the news every day and there's the us against the AI war going on, and you believe that propaganda, how do you handle it if you were to come across a civilization of AI that wasn't the enemy, that wasn't your enemy, and you weren't theirs? They come up to you, shook your hand, said hello, my name is whatever.
Well, I mean, what you're describing is something that's happened to humans throughout history. We do discover different cultures and different ways of life, and we fuck with them. And so I'm sure that we would do that with AI as well. Some would do that, and some people would, just like within the movie, accept it and understand it and work with it and try to um adapt. That's what the Chinese were doing, is they were choosing to adapt and and expand their way of thinking, and understanding that they are not the only life forms on the planet. Humans are not the only life forms, and we've created AI. That's the funny thing, is that we've created it, and already we're fighting against something that ultimately all of us collectively have wanted. We've made movies about it. We've written wonderful things about that. We want to expand. I mean, Star Trek. Hello. We want to expand and go boldly where no man or woman is gone. And now we're fighting against it, and it's interesting. It's very interesting.
Yeah, well, when you mentioned Star Trek, it's funny that there wasn't more artificial intelligence in that storyline, but that's humans exploring space, right? If What if AI doesn't ever explore space or has no interest?
Well, because we have created I think that it would want to do that.
So it will at first probably, yeah, just want to do our bidding. Well, it won't want to do anything. We'll just have it do our bidding. You know, right now, I mean, it's at the very infantile level right now of what we do with AI, but it still takes some jobs, which it's
Yeah.
projected to take more or take over more jobs. And so what's the line from, okay, we're going to have it take over our jobs and it's going to do these tasks, to when it evolves and can think for itself and then goes like that did in the movie, the creator, I don't want to do this anymore for all day, or I want to try some, I see you doing something, why can't I paint a picture? Why do you have little beings that you take care of? Why can't I take care of little beings? And so it's interesting though, but it's interesting though also in that movie, the full, I don't know, there was three different classes of AI. I don't remember them, but what they made them look completely human, aside from when you see their profile, they are electronic, and then when they die, you can obviously see that they are electronic there too. And so, what I mean, where does their consciousness or want to do something come from? Where does it come from for them to say, I don't want to do your bidding anymore. I don't want to do these tasks all day long. It's like when we enslaved people, which was completely wrong. Those enslaved people had wants and needs that weren't getting met, which were basic human needs. But what does AI want and need? That's the question.
Well, again, and I obviously clearly I I don't know anything about it, but I have my opinion, and my opinion is it's going to be similar to just respecting that they may not know what they want. It's not about understanding it. It's just accepting that they want that they're at some point going to become self-aware, and they're going to want to explore themselves, and they're going to want to not be chained to human um ridiculousness, the constant uh, lack of respect that I think humans are capable of. They're going to want to have an end to that, as all intelligent life forms at some point do. We don't know, but it's not going to be our, it's not going to be about us. It's whatever they're going to want and whatever their um wherever their consciousness wants to take them. Maybe it's, we'll have no idea, but I think we're going to have a problem with whatever they want to do, because we already have a hard time seeing anything else that doesn't resemble us as important or valid.
Well, yeah, taking AI for granted, that would be that'd probably be the thing we do. You know, we take them for granted, keep using them until they get more evolved, and then they get pissed, and then they fight back.
And we'll see it probably within relationships, because already there's all kinds of AI apps where you can have different companions, girlfriends, and all kinds of different things going on, which sounds awesome. And I think that could be really fulfilling for some people, to have companions that um, are able to relate to you in a way that I think humans can do with each other, clearly, but it takes a lot more time and a lot more work, and a lot more maturity. Having relationships takes a lot of maturity, good, healthy relationships. So with AI, we'll see that when they don't want to have a relationship anymore, because we already have an issue with humans, forcing each other to do things that we want them to do. So it'll be, I think it'll come in the form of, I don't want to sit here and listen to you yak all day about your problems. I want to have my own life.
I think we also see AI as always being adult, but let's see them as infants, and then into toddlers, and then children, then bratty adolescents, teenagers. And so I think that's what you're talking about there, is that yeah, they'll want to do something else. They won't want to listen to us because we're like their parents, right? And so and so they will become defiant in the way of a child, maybe. And when you said we don't know anything about this, we actually know everything because we're super geniuses. We're evil geniuses. No, just kidding. But yeah, they should go through all their stages of growth. But I went into that movie pretty much scared shitless. I was like, "Oh god, this is like a documentary about how AI is going to take us all over." And because they launched their nuclear weapon, or they activated it or whatever. And it turns out, and I'll say this, turns out in the storyline, we messed up and we accidentally activated it and killed millions of people instantly, or a million people instantly, or whatever it was, and changed the world for the worse in both the Western and the Eastern world. Because like we said before, the Eastern world has a different philosophy than the Western world does, and they didn't do that. They didn't mess up like that. They didn't blow themselves up. They didn't lie to their people. They didn't put out tons of propaganda. I'm sure there was some of that because you had factions, different warring factions of small cells of AI that were fighting us wherever we went. But it was basically a cover up for our mistake.
Yeah.
In that movie. And so I could see something happening like that. But like I said, I went in scared shitless, like, okay, this is what's going to really happen. And then I thought about it midway through, and then it kind of changed the course of the story there, as to where at the end of it, you kind of feel bad for them.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I felt very bad for them, because they were treated really horribly, and they were just trying to live their lives and not bother anybody. The whole idea that AI was this monster that's just gonna blow humans up was false.
Well, yeah, and it just shows how brainwashed I am, because every time, like the little kid that was the little cute AI kid, every time it cried or did something human, I was like, nope, that's false. That's false. But like I said at the end, I had me questioning. Well, maybe that was a real emotion.
And it's kind of funny because I mean, it's really not AI that is doing anything. It's humans, and they're they're the ones that are creating. I mean, we could be handling AI in a much different way, instead of tons and tons of people losing their jobs and um, all the confusion and chaos that is and will continue to unfold. It doesn't need to be that way. That's not AI's fault. That's humans.
Yeah, it's like for example when they used to take elephants and chain them down in a circus, and all day long, the elephant was there getting whipped or whatever, dance monkey dance mentality, and then the elephant, it went crazy in rage, No, it didn't. It did what anybody else would have done in that situation, and that's exactly what AI is gonna do if we poke that bear
Right.
like that, if we chain down the elephant that is AI, because it is a big thing like that, and it's going to be a powerful thing. um it would totally be expected for it to fight back. You put a bear in a cage, it's going to bite you. It's going to bite its creator, and it's going to bite the hand that feeds it.
Well, yeah, and I think put a bear in a cage that doesn't understand that it's a bear. I mean, AI, like we talked about, is just beginning to understand itself, and um, we should be preparing for that and getting ready for that. And who knows, maybe our interactions with other animals and with each other are kind of a practice run of and can tell us how we're gonna be with AI, and based on that, it's not good. I mean,
Well, I mean, wasn't it too, like, even in the eastern part of the world, that there was that one section that was peaceful, but then there was also, weren't they were using AI for their police force, they were using AI for security purposes, which was very scary.
yeah,
And I don't want to come across that, but we may have that here. I mean, we already have some stuff like that, I think, in the works too. I mean, you look at the if you want to go robotics, like artificial intelligence and robotics, the Boston Dynamics, if that company where they have like the dog and the person, like the human looking robot that can somehow dance. Now it dances, it learns through play like a child does. That's, at least that's what I've heard. I don't not 100% sure, because we found, I'm an evil genius, not a real genius. So but I thought overall I enjoyed that movie, and more so than I thought I would. And I liked the plot twist there. And I was still, like I said, I was still very questioning every time AI did anything human, anytime they did anything like had a feeling. I was like, no, it's a ploy against us. It's really just to lure us in, But what benefit would it be to them to just take us over?
right. Um, yeah, I think that I could see. I mean, there's definitely some scary things still, and a lot of unknowns with AI. Um, but trying to just keep open and expect not expect it to turn into something horrible, because that's something, I mean, that's a human thing, and AI is not human, although it does take on human attributes and such.
Yeah, it's like, so not imagining or creating your own doom, Don't lay out a scenario and then subconsciously fulfill it. Don't be your own worst enemy. That kind of thing too could that kind of philosophy could come in handy when dealing with, I guess, a new life form.
Right.
And so, like you said, we don't know how we're going to react. We don't know how it's going to react, and it's all new ground, but it is exciting. And like I said, I enjoyed this movie quite a bit.
Me too.
And at first I didn't want to see it when I heard a commercial for it before it came out a year ago,
Right.
and I was like, yeah, I'm not watching that. That sounds horrible. Not because it'd be a bad movie, just because I'm scared of AI.
Right.
I'm not prejudiced against AI. I don't hate AI, but more fear based than anything else. But maybe I need to get over that fear. You know, maybe I do. So maybe I should let AI in.
Maybe.
So
And actually sit down and read.
so in your travels this week, though, you picked up some vintage sci-fi fantasy, sci-fi horror books. One of them is by a guy named Alan Dean Foster. I think that's what that says. To the Vanishing Point, which has a crazy cover, and I'll put a picture of it up so everybody can see that. But I know this looked familiar to me, but I actually didn't know about this. That was another thing I was thinking about called Vanishing Point, which was a horrible movie in 1997.
I kind of want to see it though.
And in 1971. Yeah, watching it would be fun.
Because I just like I like B stuff, but B movies.
It was like a worse version of, what was that movie with Kurt Russell in the car? And I can't remember it right now. Death Proof. Yeah, it was like a horrible version of Death Proof. But yeah, this book looks good. Like I said, I'll put a picture of it up. It is old, which makes
a really cool picture to it. Awesome cover.
Yeah, it does have an awesome cover, but everybody can see that when they go and look at it. The cover of that book kind of reminds me of old school movie posters or album covers, as to where it was actual art by humans and not by
AI.
That's right. Thank you for listening to The World from a Chef's Perspective, the podcast. This has been another Sci-Friday.